It's 6:31, Chairman. We are welcome to start the meeting whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you, Savannah. And all right, so we're going to open up our April 5th, 2022 meeting at 6:31. And we'll all pledge allegiance to the flag. Savannah, do you have the flag that you can put? There you go. All right, pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. We will move.
Sorry.
All right, so we'll move to the roll call for the meeting that for our attendance. First, I'm Jim Baldwin, representative of Town of Seymour and chairman. Can we all identify ourselves for the record, please?
Joel Sirota, Chairman of the Planning Commission, Town of Woodbury.
Thank you.
Dave White, Bristol.
Ginny Harder, Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission Chair.
Thank you, Jenny.
Lori Rotella, Borough of Naugatuck, Town Planner, Wetlands Enforcement Officer.
Thank you.
Kim McNeil, new Southbury representative.
Thanks, Kim. Nice to have you on board.
Waterbury City Planner.
Thanks, Bob.
Marcus Long, town planner for Plymouth.
Thanks, Marcus.
Dan DeVito, Watertown, for zoning board.
Thanks, Dan. Savannah, you're here.
Savannah Nicole Vielba, Regional Municipal Planner and RPC Staff Liaison.
All right. We have any other?
Sorry, Aaron Budris, Senior Regional Planner at NBCOG.
All right, Aaron, good to see you. All right. I think we've got everybody up for the roll call. Do we have any members of the public that would share to have comment? Do we have any members of the public for comment? For a third time, do we have any members from the public for any comment? Hearing no members, we'll move to item 2, the administrative items, adoption of this December 7th, 2021 meetings. Have everyone made themselves familiar with the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Can we get a motion for adoption of the minutes?
Motion to adopt the December 7th, 2021 minutes.
A motion, do we have a second? We have a second. Do
Sirota.
we have any comment on the motion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Myself, Marcus.
Marcus, marked as an abstention.
Kim
Thank
McNeil
you.
abstains.
I'm sorry?
Kim McNeil is from Southbury, abstains.
Okay, thank you. 2 abstentions.
No, 3, Dave White. I was not present at the last meeting.
All right, David White. We have 3 abstentions for the record.
Chairman, I see that Kurt Bosco has joined us as well.
Curtis, how are you?
Good evening, everyone.
All right, let the record show that Kurt Bosco is with us as well in the roll call. All right, we're going to item B, establishment of the 2022 RPC nominating working group members. So we need Savannah, we're going to put this into a motion form.
Yes, so I attached the operating procedures in your master packets. Essentially, our annual meeting will be our next meeting in June, and per the operating procedures, we have to create a working group that will nominate for the executive board, which is a chairperson, vice chair, secretary, and 2 at-large representatives. So Chairman Baldwin will serve as the chairman of the nominating working group, but we need 2 more members to volunteer to help with this effort. And the way I see it is the 4 of us will meet, have a very quick conversation that we can report on at the annual meeting. So we're looking for volunteers and a motion.
All right, do we have any volunteers that would like to participate in the nominating group?
I'll help out with that.
Ginny from Shelton?
Mhm.
So noted.
Okay, I could do it too. Lori from
Lori,
Naugatuck.
thank you, from Naugatuck. 2. We need 2 more, right, Savannah? Because our vice chair as well should serve on that committee, right?
So you only need 3 members of the whole group to serve on the nominating. They don't have to be people who you will nominate. You can nominate whoever you want, but you only
I
need
see.
3 for this step.
So with Ginny and Lori and myself, does that conclude it, make the 3?
Yes, we just need a motion.
Can we
so
have
that you
more?
can- If you'd like, I don't see why not. Let me
Would
make
would
sure
any
that
of
it's
the-
not a shall.
I'm sorry?
1 second, sorry. We can have more than 3.
Okay, would any other members like to serve on the nominating committee? Kurt, was that your hand waving?
Jim, you know what? I have to back off. I'm really involved with Casio, getting people certified over the next couple of months. So that's where my concentration is.
Okay, I
Savannah
thought you were waving
Savannah
the
could
hand.
attest to that.
You're only a little 1 inch by 2 inch blurb on my screen. Okay, so having none, can we have a motion to approve the nominating commission? Can we have a motion to that effect?
So moved, Lori.
Lori, do we
Second,
have a second?
Sarota.
All right, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Item C, referral report. I know Keith's not with us tonight. Savannah, are you taking that chore for him?
Yes, so if anyone has any questions about any of the referrals that you've received in our referrals report, let me know and I can get those back to Keith. I hope that this is easier for everyone to have it in writing prior to the meeting to review, as opposed to Keith just running through them at the meeting. So
Mhm. Definitely. I'd also like to thank staff for expanding the subject line so that we have an idea before opening up the email as to exactly what topic the referral is for. I've found that really helpful.
Good point,
sure to
Ginny.
share that.
Ditto on that one.
Mhm.
All right, yeah, I think, does anybody have any questions? I believe we've all received them. Does anybody have any questions on any referrals that we want to pass along?
Mm-mm.
All right. Hearing none, we'll go to item D. Do we have any correspondence?
we do not.
All right, thank you. We'll move along to our item 3. We're just going to go through it quickly. We're going to go through our roundtable discussion. I'm sorry, these Zoom things get a little concentrated here, so I'm going to go in the order that I see them. Dave, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got a couple things. First, I'd like to report on the referral that Savannah put forth from Bristol. This involved 2 lots on Farmington Avenue that are going to be approved as an ATM and, excuse me, fast food and a drive-up facility. Actually, this was one business on Farmington Avenue. It was Ruby Tuesdays, which closed. The lot was purchased and it's been divided into 2 lots now. And one will be a Starbucks and the other will be a blanking. I'm blanking on what the other one is, but It was approved at the last meeting. Also at the last meeting, our zoning commission has issued an appeal to the to our city council that we are going to opt out of Public Act 2129, Section 6 and Section 4. And we've got the paperwork all set for that.
All right. All right, thanks, Dave. Move to Lori.
Okay, right now in town, next weekend, we have at our event center, a sneaker convention. I guess this is really big with some people where they buy these sneakers and sell them for hundreds and thousands of dollars. May 14th and 15th, we have a food truck wars at the event center. That's supposed to be a really big event. It's gone viral, I guess, on the internet. We had a meeting today on that, so that should be quite an event down there. Popeyes is finally coming along. They're building it on Rubber Avenue, so hopefully that'll be built and up by the summer or sometime thereafter. 2 new gas stations, one on New Haven Road and the other on Prospect Street with convenience stores. Our assisted living, like Bristol Kind Care, is coming in. They're going to do a site plan modification. Originally, they were going to be a 5-story building. They're going down to 3 stories with the same amount of rooms available in there. It looks like it's going to be a nice development right down on North Main Street, easy on and off the highway. We also submitted a letter for our affordable housing plan to the Office of Policy and Management today, telling them our intention is to sync it up with our PLCD, which is due next year in June 30th, I believe I put in there 2023. So we're waiting to hear back from them, but hopefully that'll all be approved so we can do our PLCD and our affordable housing together next year, and then the following 5 years, and then the following 10 years. So every other cycle will be together with our PLCD, with the help of Savannah Nicole giving us some guidance on how to get going on that. I think that's it for now. We're working on all of the new legislation also. We have to decide what we're doing, opting out or drafting new regulations for all that's going on between the accessory dwelling units, the parking, the cannabis, and so on.
Okay, thanks, Lori. Joel?
Yes, I have 2 items to discuss. We recently had last week a discussion on Route 61 and 6 on how to slow the traffic down. There having been in the past a horrific accident where one of our farmers, Dan Loeb, was killed in a terrible accident. And the discussion involved either using lights if it was possible, but it seemed to be going more towards having a roundabout as probably the safest way to handle this particular challenge. The other thing I have to discuss is tomorrow night. It'll give me great pleasure to present the Bernard Rosenberg Memorial Award, which was established by the Planning Commission nearly 40 years ago, following the passing of Dr. Rosenberg. It was a valued commissioner on the Planning Commission. It honors individuals who have dedicated themselves to serving our community through acts of community service, involvement in town government, or activities that benefit residents of the town of Woodbury. This year, winner struck a chord with the Planning Commission that will be music to all of our ears, and that is Woodbury resident Bill Geddes. He is a retired music teacher that is talented and a creative force with a passion for music and the arts. He's a true visionary. He has created 2 nonprofits supporting arts and music in Woodbury and Bethlehem Community Foundation, and the Arts Alliance of Woodbury. As a founder, he served multiple music and arts events for Woodbury residents of all ages. Among Bill's many initiatives is the Region 14 Strings program, Hand Arts Walk and occurred during the spring, summer of 2021. And we'll be honoring Bill tomorrow night. It's my pleasure to be able to introduce him and make the presentation on a plaque of past recipients. And I'm looking forward to that. People who volunteered for service in our municipalities are really to be applauded. And when we see candidates that really have done, it's a difficult choice. But this year, we're proud to say it's Bill Geddes, and tomorrow night I'll be presenting it.
Very good. Very, very, very good. Glad to see that.
Oh, yes. It enhances our community, which and every other community to have this move forward.
Very nice, very nice. I'm glad to hear that. All right, thank you, Joel. Ginny, how are we doing in Charlton?
Oh, we're doing just fine. Last week, the commission adopted a one-year moratorium on the recreational cannabis. It was effective April 1st. We'll be working on a moratorium discussion for accessory dwelling units as well. As you know, Shelton has a lot of undeveloped land, and piece of property that the city acquired through foreclosure years ago is off of Bridgeport Avenue and Constitution Boulevard, and it's been referred to as the Mass property. And that was supposed to have been the headquarters for City Trust. And when banking that went out of business, the city was able to acquire it. That's over 66.5 acres. And it's been sitting there in its natural state for, I would say, about 30 years. Well, there had been, when City Trust had approached the town about coming in, the commission had made it that into a PDD. And what we did at the beginning of this year was to do a reversal, which is very unusual, but to change from a PDD to and rezoned it as an industrial, an IA zone. And that was because the mayor had been in touch with businesses in the area that want some industrial space. And what happened too was that Bigelow Tea from Fairfield bought 25 of those acres, and they will be relocating to Shelton at some time in the future after constructing the required building that they'll need. And not too long after that, a local resident who owns Advanced Home Audio bought 6 acres, and there's, from what I understand, other businesses, industries will be coming to the zoning commission as well. Part of that whole, the importance and the of that particular project will be the extension of Constitution Boulevard from where it terminates at above Route 8 to Route 110 in Shelton. And that extension of Constitution Boulevard has been talked about for at least 60 years. And as a young girl, there were several discussions around the dinner table at my house, I remember, because my dad was on a couple of commissions when he was a resident here. So with the State Bond Commission last week approved $5 million to extend Constitution Boulevard. So that will be helping that project to start. We also, as part of our recent meeting, we did have 3 824 referrals to obtain and sell, or just obtain some property from area residents that had been in negotiation with the city. We've had some things happening downtown as usual. There is a 5-story mixed-use building with 92 residential units that's under consideration. There's another one that's a 4-story mixed use with 30 residential units under consideration. We did approve a 2-story 6-apartment mixed use building that to be remodeled. It had been the site of a fire, And so that that whole building will be remodeled. We have done some text changes for contractor storage on a parcel that is off of Bridgeport Avenue. We've also been approached by one of our local farmers for approval for a text change to expand the use of farm stands in the city. And we've had some typical retail kind of applications, one of which involved a major modification of PDD number 2, which goes back, it's got to be 30 years. And that was for a small plaza that is this present day is the site of Staples and had been where Panera Bread and a bank had been located. The bank left a while ago because it was taken over by somebody else and they closed that branch. But Panera Bread actually is moving across the street and down a little ways because their corporate model apparently dictates that they have drive-through service, and where they were could not accommodate that. So we have very busy agendas, that's for sure, and a very busy staff. That's about it.
All right, thanks, Jenny. Mr. Bosco, what do we have going on?
Boy, life is pretty boring in Middlebury compared to all the projects that I'm hearing and are making me jealous down in the valley. Tomorrow,
I'll take boring once in a while.
Thursday evening, Middlebury, I believe the feeling of the commission is to end the moratorium and permanently opt out of the cannabis sales in Middlebury. We're a town of 7,500 people, and we feel that the other adjoining towns, especially like the city of Waterbury, would be able to pick up on those who, support recreational cannabis use. But our little conservative town is going to opt out. Also, the affordable housing plan we're going to initiate. Let's see, it says adoption of our minutes to, I'm sorry, our agenda. The affordable housing plan, we're going to commence the procedures to get into compliance with the state. We have an additional, or in addition to one of our medical buildings, our Straits Turnpike Route 63 corridor has become known as Pill Hill because so many of the medical facilities have located in that area. So we have one major player in addition to one of the medical buildings. The initial application is coming in tomorrow. Not much else going. We have a lot of side projects. One thing that we just discovered is that Eversource has a nice street lighting program, and they have three of the samples of the street lights on display at Waterbury Country Club. And just found out that they have that program, or they've upped it again. So we're thinking about doing a lightscape along the green in Middlebury next to the town hall, and maybe expanding it in both directions on route, that would be Route 188, Middlebury Road, Whittemore Road, I'm sorry. Other than that, nothing to report. I'm anxious to listen to what else is happening in other towns. Thank you.
I would like to make an addition to my previous statements. I don't want to ignore something that I've initiated, and that's the walkway for Woodbury. We're waiting for a plan on Route 6 that COG is going to be working on to do that. But it's our interest to have the plan for the walkway. It's not 1976 that's of interest to me and the people in the town. I'm interested in 1776 because we're going to be working with pavers, and I happen to be an artist as well. And anything that has happened in our town during its history will have embedded. We're not tearing up anything. We're not burying wires, but we are embedding some of my paver designs. So people will be attracted to discover the history of Woodbury, and certainly in Hollow Park. And along the Route 6, we want people to come for a day and plan to stay. We're looking to build up the activity of people, young folks being able to come and buy homes in our town and enjoy all the features and services that the towns offer. We have a wonderful administration. We have a lot of people that are going to be donating their time to make all of this happen. But we're trying to coordinate our activity with those of the Route 6 study by COG. And it's a very exciting program, and I will tell you and share with you, the town is, and it's our residents are very interested in this and moving it forward. So it's very encouraging to all of us that are serving as volunteers on various boards and commissions to move forward and have this project bring results. We expect that it will.
That's great. That's great, Joe. I'm glad to see the COGS, so
Very
actively
important,
involved.
very actively involved, I
Yeah,
might add.
that's
They're
great.
outstanding. I served on COG many years prior to saying, I needed to take a break.
Yeah,
But I'm happy to be involved certainly with COG. I believe in them, and I believe in all of us standing together will we really create and make a difference in the state of Connecticut.
it's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Thanks for the update.
Sure.
Who else did I miss anybody that's not on my screen?
Bob and Middlebury.
Marcus.
There you
Go
go,
ahead.
Bob. There you go. Bob?
Yeah, well, Waterbury, it's been very busy, similar to the other communities. We're in the middle of our housing, 830J housing study. That seems to be progressing very well. We did a community survey, online survey, actually in 3 languages. We got just under 200 results, which is actually pretty good for a non-scientific survey.
What were the 3 languages, Bob?
Yeah.
English, Spanish, and Albanian.
Okay.
Albanian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought the response was very good, very interesting. People are, of course, concerned about the inflationary effects on housing costs and rents as well. There's also strong emphasis on protecting our neighborhoods, strong demand for single-family housing, which was kind of an interesting response. We certainly have a wide spectrum of housing, multifamily, but there seems to be strong interest in pursuing the American dream of owning a single-family housing, be it in Waterbury or other communities. We're going to be doing a gap analysis moving forward, and eventually holding a public informational meeting. So it'll be interesting as it moves along. We do plan to wrap up before the end of June deadline. So hopefully that will be behind us for 5 years. ADU and parking, we are looking at the possibility of an opt-out. I've had initial discussions with our zoning commission. We'll continue to discuss it with the commission, but staff recommends or is suggesting that we do consider the opt-out provision. But again, it really needs to be, I think, further discussed with our city zoning commission. We have not unlike many communities, we currently have a moratorium on cannabis establishments that terminates on August 9th. We plan to extend that moratorium until after November. I think the thought right now, the thought of the administration is to bring it to the voters as a public referendum item. So at day's end, cannabis sales may or may not be permitted in Waterbury, depending on the voter response. And then finally, other activities similar to other communities remain strong. We're seeing a lot of commercial development. No shortage of fast food restaurants, Taco Bell. We too have a Popeyes that's going to be breaking ground, Burger King. Same thing with subdivision activity, a lot of inactive subdivisions that have yet to expire. There seems to be an awful lot of interest in resurrecting those projects. So yeah, we're busy.
Okay, thanks, Bob. I'm sorry, who else do we have up next?
Dan DeVito. Oh, go ahead.
Dan?
That's okay, Dan.
All right, Dan, go ahead, Dan. You popped up,
All right.
and then we'll go to
Yep.
Kim.
From Watertown. So we've been pretty busy. We're working on a site plan approval for a 15,000 square foot medical office on Straits Turnpike. We're still revising our current zoning regulations. Not so much the content, but just reorganizing and making it make more sense. One of our larger companies in town, Watertown Plastics, is doing a 10,000 square foot addition. What else? Housing that we had approved probably about 2 years ago just broke ground, so that's exciting. I believe it was age restricted. I don't remember. We had our dog park that was on hold for a while, but they're finally moving forward on that, and hopefully will be completed soon. And that's about it. Those are the big ones, I guess.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Kim?
Hi, nice to join everyone here today. I really appreciate the opportunity. We have the affordable housing plan seems to be on schedule for being completed by June. We have Southbury has recently won an over $400,000 grant for pedestrian safety improvements along our main street. We are working on our POCD, and we had a open house last month where we had a good number of people come in and explore the different types of exhibits that had been put up and provide their feedback, which was all recorded so it can be incorporated into the plan. Our zoning regulations are being looked at in tandem with the development of the POCD. Around town, we've had some requests for electric car charging stations at some businesses in town. They are being handled by amendments. And our ARPA task force has recommended putting a large sum toward our to a local group that is working on affordable housing for seniors called Pierce Hollow. Our economic development director tells me that we have KRU Juice Bar and Athleta are recently opened in town, and we have Geyer 9, who is renovating a space for an industrial area. And we have 2 more businesses coming to some available space in Southbury Plaza, and a number of businesses also looking at some of the spaces we have available in Southbury. On April 23rd, our Sustainable Southbury is having an energy fair and green expo, and that's right outside of Town Hall with 25 vendor booths. And if you want to ever come by and check it out, our little town. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kim. All right, did we hear from everyone?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, just identify yourself only because it is Zoom. I'm not
Marcus.
seeing it. Marcus,
Oh,
please.
I'll just be very brief. I'm relieved that I can certainly finally start to focus on affordable housing and then cannabis. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Marcus.
You're welcome.
All right,
Yeah, I've got, from Woodbury, I've got nothing either. I shouldn't say either. I have nothing this month.
oh, there's Bob. Bob joined us? Okay.
Yes, that's Bob Clark.
Okay, Bob. Nice that you joined us. Okay, Bob. All right.
Sorry to be late.
No worries. I'll just go, I guess I'm last. I'll go Seymour. We've got we've got a complete revision of our zoning regulations. They're final drafts. They're out to council for review, and they'll be hitting public comment. Hopefully we'll adopt them, and they'll be able to be put in place by June or July. We've got some commercial structures going in. They're applying through our land use boards. Now, I guess I would like to just go back and, actually it's very nice to hear all the comments today, because all of us that have been on this commission for a while realize we all came through COVID. We saw the slowdown. We saw the high amount of changes in proposed development, and then we saw the slowdown through COVID, and now we're starting to see that uptick again. Brick and mortar is starting to make a little bit of a comeback, where we thought we were all in kind of wonder of whether brick and mortar was going to come back or was all going to go virtual, how businesses were going to react. I think it's a foregone conclusion that apartments and the affordable housing is really starting to dig in now. We're all dealing with the review of the 830 sections. And it's interesting also to hear how all the municipalities are dealing with the cannabis, whether they're under moratorium, whether they're saying, hey, yeah, we're going to allow it. That's very interesting to see. One item I'd like to bring up is the accessory dwelling units under the statute that's been adopted. I mean, I know a lot of you are in, planning positions for municipalities, and most everyone here has a good foot in zoning. I think it's the most, my personal opinion, I think it's one of the most ridiculous pieces of legislation I've ever seen. And then we're all going to have to deal with it, whether we're going to be opting out, whether we're going to be following their guidance or whatever. It's probably, a conversation for another time, but I think we're all going to be dealing with it, and it's going to be very interesting to see how each municipality and their zoning commission deals with it. So I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in on that with their feeling, if they think it's the proper thing that should happen or not. I'd be interested to hear that. As a regional planning commission, we're very diverse. I mean, Waterbury's got very different, a different situation than Woodbury might have. Seymour is very different than maybe Watertown or something like that. So it's kind of a crazy topic. But if anybody wants to chime in on that, I'd be interested to hear anybody's opinion on it.
I think it's a very disturbing topic. I particularly do not like the fact that they feel that one size fits all, and local zoning commissions will not have any say in it. I think it's a very ridiculous avenue to take. It really is.
Thanks, Jenny. Anybody else?
I concur with Jenny. She took the words right out of my mouth. It's not a one size fits all. I think towns and cities vary differently. In the case of Waterbury, we have very small lots in our single family neighborhoods. As a city, we provide a wide array of housing opportunities with no density restrictions in the central business district. We also have a lot of problems with illegal units, units that are oftentimes found in basement areas, attics. They're unsafe. We see this type of legislation leading to, I think, situations where propriety interests would really reign the day. And I just think personally that towns and cities are, really in the best position to make these kind of decisions. That's my opinion. It doesn't reflect the views of the commission. As I mentioned, the discussion is ongoing, and we'll certainly keep you posted.
Right. Thanks, Bob. Anyone else want to comment on that?
Dan DeVito from Watertown. I would agree with everything that's said, especially the one size fits all. Just as in each town has its own zoning for different areas of town, different things fit. That kind of works for the whole state. There is no one size fits all. So I do agree with that sentiment.
Thank you. Thanks, Daniel. Anyone else?
Just to get on the record, this is Bob from Woodbury. I think that it's ridiculous that the state felt finally that they had to step in and do something after all the time that they have spent doing nothing. And then to propose what they propose is beyond belief. A mandate from nowhere for everywhere is just ridiculous.
Thanks, Bob.
And
any-
I'm,
Joel?
Joel, I might add on that too, where every town has its own individual issues that they have to deal with. I think everyone wants to, we certainly want to be in compliance. The challenges are where and next to whom and what would be the result of it. And so that's what we're wrestling with. And we certainly want to continue having an ongoing dialogue. There is no one size fits all, that is for sure. And the problem is locations. Where are they best serves everyone's interests? So there are ongoing challenges. That this is a very important subject matter to the town, and we want to do things that enhance the town. Calling it affordable housing to me is, oh, I live in the affordable housing. I'd rather have them say, oh, I live at the settlement by the river. People, they want their respect and dignity, and there are a lot of things that go into making a decision onto the sites, and we're very thoughtful of the concerns of our own residents, and also what's going on in other communities. Every community is going to be different, and this is what we're finding out. No matter what the consultants like to say and present, we listen to our consultants. That's why we pay them. But we don't always have to, we don't necessarily have to agree. We have people here that are multi-generational. 10th generation will say, what? Or not next to me. There are these issues we're challenged with, and we'll deal with them in accordance to their concerns.
All right, thanks, Joel. Anyone else have a comment on that? The only reason I start this as a general discussion is because it's as I continue educating myself in this, the accessory dwelling units and things like this, and the opt-in and the opt-out, and the more of the conversation, I believe that the Regional Planning Commission actually should maybe make a consensus and a stand on this. At least we could weigh in on this. This has been adopted legislation. I've been working with Savannah Nicole and Keith Rosenfeld on this, and I got to tell you, I don't really have my head wrapped around it. And I think that all of us in this conversation is kind of struggling with it a little bit in the municipalities, and I'd really like to know, what's it going to look like? 2023 is going to come, is going to be here before you know it, and are we going to be prepared to make the right decisions, or the zoning commission's making the right decision for the municipalities? So that's the only reason I bring it up. I'd like to push it forward with the COG to get more input on this matter. But like I said, I'm not really 100%. Like I said, I don't think it was great legislation. And it kind of came out of nowhere too. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but maybe some of you others were. But I just see it came out of nowhere. It seems like a knee-jerk reaction. So having said that, that's just my opinion. But like I said, if anybody feels in opposition to what I'm thinking, or in support, maybe we should, as a Regional Planning Commission, make a little bit of a bigger stand on this.
Maybe we could have this as a major topic or significant topic in one of our meetings.
Yeah, I'd also like to see the COG in general. I'm just wondering how many town mayors and first selectmen really understand or even have knowledge of this. I think this is something just going to sneak up on all of us and get us. And all of a sudden, whether we're opted in and saying, hey, we're opted in, this is the rules we're going to be following, or we're opted out, and that we don't have it, we no longer allow this. So I think this is one that's going to sneak up on us. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about that, but if you do, please feel free. But that's just my opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may, it's helpful to hear this, and as your staff liaison, I will bring this up in our land use department. So whether it manifests itself as a major topic for a future meeting, or we provide some sort of resource that goes further into it, we will look at this further on our side of things.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this commission has quite a few members that have had quite a few years of experience on here, and I'm not seeing anything or hearing anything that's saying this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, okay, let's move to item 4, the discussion of the affordable housing plans. Savannah, you have something on that for us?
Yes, I do. And I feel like I should buy you all a coffee because you've talked about what I want to talk about tonight. So I'm going to give a brief overview of what we've created at the COG to help you as you work on your affordable housing plan. I didn't want to spend a lot of time going over 830J because it sounds like most communities are working on it. So I wanted to briefly discuss the regional housing profile that you all received via email. And then I had some discussion questions at the bottom of the slide. Most of you have touched upon them, so I don't think we need to focus on them for too long tonight. But if anyone wants to provide any answers to the discussion questions, it would be appreciated and welcome. So I sent you all the regional housing profile in February of this year. It was something that was a staff-wide effort that we had been working on for a while. So it was really nice to get it out to everyone. But the purpose of this document was threefold. So the first was to support our member municipalities as you work on your municipal affordable housing plan as required by CGS section 8-30J. The second one was to distribute relevant housing data that presents regional and municipal housing trends. And then the third one is to highlight municipal level best practices for strategies to increase the supply of affordable housing development. To touch base on what everyone discussed tonight, there is no one size fits all solutions, but we do have a few tools that look similar in each of our toolboxes. And so sometimes to have a little bit of a resource to go off of to pick the strategies that are best for Shelton or for Watertown or Bristol. I'm calling out the people that I can see on my screen. But that's helpful for facilitating the conversation. As Representative Sirota said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of information you're receiving from your consultants. And so we tried our best to provide a broad array of strategies so you could see all sorts of options in one place. So there's a lot of really useful information in this document, and we would encourage you to use it in whatever ways assist your municipality best. I wanted to provide you with just 3 quick examples so you could see the ways you might use our plan in your plan. And so for the first example, pages 9 to 13 of the introduction provide a really clear explanation of what's required under the statute. This includes a definition of the key terms as well as an explanation of the income requirements. If that's something you want to include in your plan, we wrote this for you guys. Feel free to copy it, feel free to paraphrase it, feel free to make it work for your communities. So the second thing that we have is as you tell the story of your municipality's current and future housing trends, the data provides you with the information necessary to do so. So we broke down the data we provided into different subsections. So there's demographic data, there's housing supply data, there's housing cost data, there's affordable housing data. There's a bunch of different resources that I'd recommend just printing it out and highlighting your community so that you can go through and see what's going on the data side of things. And so you may choose to mirror your trends section similarly to how we've done in the regional housing profile. We went through and just wrote a little narrative talking about each of those data points. And that really helps tell the story of what's going on in your municipality or what's going on in our region. And so then I already touched upon this.
Yeah.
I won't talk about it too long, but we provided those municipal level best practices. And so this list is by no means all encompassing, but it's meant to serve as a resource for your municipality as you engage in conversations with your community about the goals and strategies you want to put forth to increase affordable housing development. You will note that there are strategies that meet the definition of affordable housing development as defined in 8-30J. And there are some broad strategies that may not necessarily meet the definition on your own, but maybe something you want to talk about if you're having a holistic conversation about what affordable housing looks like in your municipality. So as you review the document, if you have any questions or comments or ideas or thoughts, you're always welcome to give me a call or send me an email. I love talking about housing, so I'm here to serve as a resource to you all. And so, like I said, I have these discussion questions. You all answered some of them in some way through the conversation we've had today. So I'll leave it to the chairman. If you want to open it for a brief discussion, we can. Or if you'd like to move on, we can also do that.
Thanks, Savannah. Would anybody care to, I'm still digesting most of it, but would anybody care to have any comment or conversation on that?
This is Joel. I think that it's a major discussion, and I don't think we ought to have that tonight. Because every municipality, if we get more people involved in this, you're going to hear a lot of different views on this. So I think it needs to be presented as such as at another meeting, perhaps our next regional meeting.
Sure.
That
So
we make that a major topic, and that the attendance might be even greater than for that.
sure. So Chairman or Representative Sirota, the questions that I'm asking tonight are more focused on the process of your plan. So I just wanted to see where people were in terms of drafting or who's working on your plan, or if you're doing public engagement, who's adopting it. I totally agree with you. The conversation about affordability is a very large one. And I think to everyone's point earlier, it looks very different in each community, but it is my intention that we can support one another by seeing what other communities are doing to go through this process. So my apologies if that wasn't clear.
Right. That's why I was saying, Savannah. I mean, you've done a great job on this and everything else. And for me, like I said, I'm still digesting it. I'm digesting it. So I don't know if other members and the planners and things like that are still doing the same. Yeah, that the conversations, for another time, probably on the actual meat and potatoes of it. But I think it's very helpful what you put together. So hopefully all the municipalities can find some great use of it and use that as their tool.
I can speak to some of your points, Savannah.
Sure.
We felt like we may not have had a ton of time, but we have really sped up our process for the affordable housing plan over the last few months. And we have been able to put out a survey that we had on our town website and promoted through our town website. And we have a consultant that we're working with to help us. And they've been able to provide a lot of really some of the detailed information, along with getting information from NVCOG, of course. And so we are taking into account public engagement. And I think that we are going to be seeing a draft pretty soon. So thank you.
That's awesome.
All right, thanks, Kim. All right, we can move along to, if you pop that back up for me, Savannah, thank you. We're going to move the updates on the MVCOG updates. We're going to go to the sustainable plan, and that's by Christine. We have Christine with us
Yes.
tonight?
Yes. Hello there.
Oh,
Thank
hello,
you so much
Christine.
for.
How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you guys?
I'm great, thanks.
Awesome. Yes, I know that for the next 3 items, it's going to be a little bit of the Christine show, but I'll try to go as quickly as possible.
We love the Christine show.
Oh, okay, great. About, I want to say like 3 weeks ago, or perhaps 2, I sent out the this document entitled Sustainable Plan Review to all the town planners. And the purpose of this document, it's just a 1-page sheet. It's really just a few considerations that we think Planning and Zoning Commission members could use sort of as a touchstone to remember to incorporate sustainability into their decision-making process. So it's very broad. The topics it covers are low impact development, responsible energy use, landscaping, source drinking water protection, and then a couple of miscellaneous suggestions. The purpose of this document is really hopefully, or I suppose I should say the use of this document would be for land use staff to distribute it to commissioners and maybe keep it on hand for themselves. And I just want to be totally clear, nothing on here is supposed to make or break an application. These are not things that you can use as, a sole basis for a denial if they don't have any one of these elements. But I think, these public hearings for like Planning and Zoning Commission, it's such a unique opportunity to like tease out what's going on in the minds of the developers. And if you could get them to consider, hey, could we put pervious pavers so that the water can infiltrate naturally instead of more blacktop? Why not ask that question? You might be surprised at the answer. So, maybe it's just something that they hadn't considered. So these are all pretty broad. I did get one email with some feedback. Someone suggested, which is a great idea, does the plan include areas for snow removal? Which is great. That could be a big safety concern for developing sites. But I'm wondering if anyone has taken a look at it and has other suggestions. And if you think it's fine as is, we'll be happy to send out the final copy. But we did want to give you guys an opportunity to take a look at the document and give any input you think is necessary.
Christine, I want to thank you for sending that out. I really found it very interesting. And I intend to keep it as part of my my folder.
That's great. That's very, very exciting to hear. That's exactly what we were hoping would happen.
I read it too, Christine, and I thought it was very good. A lot of the development review in Waterbury is done on a ministerial level. And, when we meet with a developer, somebody looking to improve property, yes, there's certainly regulatory standards, but oftentimes it sort of proceeds as a conversation, taking on kind of a collaborative style. And we're doing that to, obviously for the betterment of Waterbury, but also for the developer. We want their project to be a successful. And I think probably a lot of what's included is not covered in a regulatory manner in many communities. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes just discussing these things, it's sometimes very inexpensive ideas that can be integrated into a plan that really makes it a much better plan. So I printed it out, I've saved it, and certainly we intend to use it.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you so much.
Christine, the only thing that I would suggest is whether or not it would be useful to add some language that under the site landscaping section that just brings up can existing plantings, not just shrubbery, but trees and everything, has there been any discussion or thought to retaining as much as possible rather than going in and clear cutting? Does the site permit that kind of approach?
Yes, I absolutely love that idea, and I will 100% add it. Thank you so much for that.
All right, Christine, you're doing, oh, you got another one right behind us on B.
Yeah.
Let
And
the
I got one
Christine
after that. I
show,
told you it is the Christine show.
the Act 2, let's go.
Act 2. Okay. So some of you may recall when I presented first the idea of Soul Smart, which is this very similar to sustainable CT in that it's actions that can be taken to achieve a sort of designation to demonstrate, in this case, that you're a pro-solar community. So you can do this on a town level, but also a regional level. So NVCOG decided to pursue our bronze and in the future silver certification through SoulSmart. So we brought it to you guys. You liked the idea. We brought it to our board, our NVCOG full board. They gave us the thumbs up, and so we got to work. And I am very pleased to say that in the probably about 6 months since we brought this to you, we have done actions totaling 90 points, which would achieve us a silver designation. Now, and just let me give you an idea of what some of these actions are. So the biggest one has been creating an online hub for solar resources. So NVCOG has a series of web pages that are provide resources on solar development, both for residents and for municipalities. So it totally runs the gamut from click on this calculator and figure out how much you could save from switching to solar, to things like, here's a list of consumer protection resources if you're looking to get solar, to things for municipalities that would say, you know, best practices to incorporate into your zoning regs. And probably the coolest part is that we have an amazing GIS team who put together a solar map of the region. And you can see some really very cool stats for your community about like how much solar capacity per capita is there. If you'd like to check it out, it's our website, nvcogct.gov/solsmart, SOLSMART. So great place for your own staff to get some training and also to direct residents who might be interested. We've done a few other things. We're working on incorporating some solar related goals into our regional POCD. That is actually the required action that's going to get us silver, but because the RPOCD isn't published yet, we have to pause that silver designation. But we are aiming actually probably sometime this summer, we will have completed all our requirements for bronze. So we're in really good shape. It looks good for everyone, right? If we have this designation of, you know, we're a solar friendly region. Just a heads up, I don't have exact dates yet, but we will be reaching out to you guys shortly to let you know about 2 virtual trainings that we'll be providing. One is about solar planning, zoning, and development, and the other is about permitting and inspections. So this would be great for any land use staff. And I know that's a little bit jumbled, but there are actually quite a lot of different things for this application that we've worked on. So if you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask, but just know that we are in very good shape and we are on track to receive hopefully bronze this summer and then silver as soon as our POCD is published.
All right, thanks, Christine. I have one comment on solar.
Jim?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Joel.
This is Joel. I have to do a lot of preparations for my meetings tomorrow, my own planning commission meetings. And so I'm going to excuse myself and thank everyone for their input tonight. I thought this was a great meeting going forward, Jim. So
all right, Joel.
And I'll be signing off and I'll be in touch with Jim. I'll be in touch with you shortly.
All right, thank you. All right, Joe. Have a good night. We'll let the record show that you were. Thank you. Someone left the meeting. Christine, I'd like one as a building official. I'd like one thing to be maybe considered being incorporated. Anything that's put out for the public on that. And it sounds a little bit counterproductive, but one of the topics should be, is solar right for you? Because, and the reason why I say that is like anything in the private industry, we're starting to see a lot of solar projects that are coming, online as more of a sales tactic. And people aren't very knowledgeable about, what solar, first of all, what it is and how it's going to, affect their household budget and whatever. But I'm seeing a lot more of solar projects sold to people that probably are never going to get the benefit out of it, whether they don't have the length of time or they're not planning on staying in the home or something like that. So it's a really interesting topic, but more and more as it's coming on board, it's like, oh, you should have solar, and that people are realizing that that maybe the positioning of their household will only net them maybe a 30% return. A lot of people think just because I have a roof that they're going to be at 100% capacity. So I would just say, is solar right for you? And so, and some kind of lead off with that. In some
I think
cases,
that's
that
a
makes
fabulous
perfect,
some people
it makes perfect sense, and other people it's like, don't get trapped by some salesman saying, oh, you got to be like so and so, do your part. So
what about a more positive attitude? Solar is right for you.
Well, I'm just saying, is it right for you? That's right, because it could be perfect for you. But I'm just, my point is, I think the question needs to be asked. I don't like to see solar companies selling people things that they're not going to get their full potential.
I completely understand that. And, with anything that's, that's big, like for instance, when COVID-19 was first, coming to prominence and everything, there were a gazillion email scams about click here to, for your free COVID test or whatever. And so just like that, with the solar industry growing, there are scams out there. There are people who, salespeople who don't care about. I totally understand the concern. I don't think it's anything we would, get SoulSmart credit for, but on our resource page, I hope you don't mind if I maybe reach out to you tomorrow when I'm in the office, and I would get some of your ideas, and I'd love to draft a document and run it by you and see.
That's where I'd like it. Like I said, I'm
Great.
not saying anything negative about it, but on the resource page, I think that, whenever we promote something or we're doing something like this, that we should be, hey, look, you got to really look at the facts.
Yes.
There's a lot of different ways, whether you're leasing, whether you're buying and stuff like that. So it's like anything else. It allows the consumer or to do their due diligence. And we're telling them up front, please do it.
Yes. I'm totally on board with that. And I'll reach out to you offline to get your ideas on it.
There's also an altruistic side to this question, Jim, in terms of, at my advanced age, I don't foresee outliving my solar commitment, but I think for the good of the environment, I did it. And in terms of the resale, I don't know what the market says, but I think the fact that I've got solar on the house means that whoever buys when we move on, as it were, it's going to be a plus rather than a minus.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Thank you for the thought. Thank you. All right, Christine.
I have a question for Christine.
Sure, Lori.
Christine, do you have information in there also regarding like solar farms? Like the bigger projects, not on rooftops of schools, but on the ground solar farms.
Yeah, so interesting. So SoulSmart is mostly geared towards not utility scale. So it doesn't necessarily have to be solar panels on a roof, but smaller than utility scale. However, we do actually have a section that's about using different land uses for solar. So for instance, we have stuff about redeveloping brownfields into solar fields and things like that. So it's a little scattered. I don't know that we necessarily have like, a single resource that encompasses that, but it is definitely, I would say, more geared towards residential scale. If you'd like for us to put other resources up there, 100% open to it, whatever you think is useful. We can talk about that. And I will say, Lori, that for the upcoming trainings that I mentioned, these webinars, we will have two Connecticut attorneys who very regularly deal with development projects, which obviously you don't usually hire an attorney to put, panels on your roof. They have a lot of experience with these larger solar farm projects. And in fact, one of the gentlemen is one who was recommended to us by our own Kurt Bosco. So I was working on his project with him, Paul Michaud. Am I saying that right, Kurt? Or I don't know if he's still there, but
Yep.
anyway.
I'm here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't bother. It'll end up in court anyway.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, so we have some great speakers lined up for that. And I think they will absolutely be able to address questions or thoughts you have about solar farms, Lori. And if you have specific ideas of resources you'd like me to include on the page, absolutely let me know. I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Sure. Jim, if you are speaking.
Jim, you're on mute.
I'm on mute. How about now?
All good.
All right, let's finish up with the Christine show. Item two.
Yeah. This one's nice and quick. It's a simple announcement about our household hazardous waste and paint collection. We hold 3 of these a year for the whole region, with a few towns accepted, those who have opted out. The first one is being held in Ansonia at the Public Works facility, which is 1 North Division Street. That's going to be on Saturday, April 16th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dropping off household hazardous waste is free for residents as long as it's a 50-pound limit and it's on our acceptable items list. They simply need to bring proof of residence. So any questions about that? We have a very informative page on our website. It's just our website /HHW. And certainly any questions I'm happy to answer now, but we usually get really good turnouts for our first event of the year. So we hope to see lots of cars getting rid of stuff and diverting them from the landfills and disposing of them safely.
All right, thanks, Christine. Great job. Look at that.
Thank you.
A, B, and C, terrific. All right, now we got Aaron. Aaron's gonna give us D.
We'll finish it off with the Aaron show.
The Aaron show, right? He's only got a 2-act show though.
I'll be brief. So our composter sale. Last year we held a successful sale of backyard composters, rain barrels, and other accessories. We worked with the distributor to offer these items to residents at wholesale prices through an online store, and we promoted the sale through social media and press releases. We then hosted 2 events, one in Cheshire and one in Southbury, where residents were able to pick up their items. A couple weeks ago, we kicked off our 2022 composter and rain barrel sale. So the online store is now open. You can go to nbcogct.gov/composter sale, and residents can order items on that store until May 19th. Ordered items will need to be picked up on May 21st at 2 events that NBCOG will be hosting, from 9 to 11 at the Seymour Community Center and from 1 to 3 at the Bethlehem Fire Department. So we've requested that our municipalities help us get the word out to residents, and we'll ask you all to do the same. We're asking towns to share on social media and municipal websites, or post flyers in municipal buildings, and we've sent around flyers to all of the towns. I'm happy to answer any questions now. You can reach out to me or to Christine, who's actually going to be running the program this year. But yeah, happy to answer any questions.
And you all received the posters, the notice, the beautiful documents in your master packets. So feel free to share them with your communities and your commissions as you see fit.
Were they sent to the mayor's first selectman offices or to the planning and zoning commission office?
To both, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we'll go to
Aaron,
item.
can I just ask, Aaron, what are the prices? I know they say wholesale rates.
Oh gosh, I want to say the composter is, Christine, $79, $85.
Yeah, I feel like it was 75 for the composter and 85 for the rain barrel. That was my.
That sounds right.
Oh, thanks,
and
Rich.
Yeah, Rich. Thanks, Rich.
Yeah, I shared it on social media today.
And I bought one of each last year, and I'm pretty happy with them. So they're fairly well made, and they're working. So
It seems from looking over the link that there was quite a number of different items that you could purchase. Am I not looking in the right place?
yeah, no, they expanded
Oh, okay.
this year. So there's they actually have a tumbler composter. There's a bunch of other items
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now I know what to get somebody for Christmas. No, I'm serious about that.
Good.
My stepson was good. He's going to be surprised when I get him this. All right, thanks, Aaron. We're going to go to the hazard mitigation plan.
Okay, so just a little bit of background. NVCOG received funding from FEMA in 2019 to develop a regional multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan that will serve as the municipal hazard mitigation plans for all 19 of our member towns. We worked with all of your towns and a consultant over 18 months to develop this regional plan. And at the last RPC meeting, this commission voted to recommend that NVCOG board endorse the plan, which they did. And it was also endorsed by all 19 municipal governing bodies. With those endorsements, FEMA gave the final approval to our regional plan in February. Hard copies were distributed to all the towns, and all of the final documents are also on our website at nvcogct.gov/HMP. So now that the plan's approved, all 19 of your communities are eligible to apply to DEMIS for hazard mitigation grants administered by FEMA to implement actions or address issues identified in those plans. And the plans are going to be active through January of 2027. And, we are, I'm sure, going to at least consider and ask all of our towns if they want us to do this again regionally. I think it was, I think it saved the towns a lot of time and money. And I think the process went very well. So yeah, keep an eye out. There are actually two hazard mitigation grants open right now. One for Tropical Storm Ida and one for COVID. And a lot of the actions that are in your plans are eligible uses for that funding. So take a look. We're here to assist if you guys are interested in pursuing funding for any of that. Just let us know.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Anybody have any questions on that plan for Aaron? Okay, finishing up the meeting, I've spoken to Savannah about this, and I just like to put it out there to the commission. I'd like to put a letter out to the mayors and first selectmen's on behalf of the RPC, reminding them, or at least asking them, to please make sure they have members and appointments to the RPC commission. Some of our members aren't represented at all. I don't know if it's due to lack of people that want to serve, or if it's just an oversight. So Savannah, I'd like to get that letter put together, and if I can have the endorsement of the commission here for that letter, I think that'd be a great thing. Does anybody have any comment to that?
I think it's a very wise and prudent course to take.
I
All right.
agree. Plymouth
Can I?
agrees.
All right. Would it be? I'd like to have a motion to authorize this the chairman's letter to the municipal officials.
I'll make a motion to authorize as you stated.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Aye. All right. Thank you. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Who's opposed? Okay, thank you.
No.
Okay, Savannah, that's something we're gonna put together?
Sounds good to me, Chairman.
Okay, very good. We'll work on that and we'll get it out, okay? And we'll send copies along to all the RPC members as well. All right, looks like we're at the end. We're at item 6 for adjournment, and our next meeting will be Tuesday, June 7th on 2022. Give a motion of adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
All
Second.
right,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
You
Good
too.
evening.
Good night.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Good night. Kurt,
Good night.
when will we hear back about Casio?
It's gonna be a long time. It's gonna be a long wait.
Yeah,
I'll let you know as soon as I know something, okay?
okay, yeah, okay, thanks, Kurt.